Deadpool and Wolverine came out last night, and as you can see, the audience universally loves this. Now, I'm waiting for them to go, oh, it's racist review bombing. It's positive review bombing now, right? Because it's two white males starring in a movie. It's action, it's comedy, it's fun. This is what the audience wanted, and they're never going to just like take this and go, hey, maybe we should give the audience what they want in terms of these sorts of franchises. We should actually just do honor to Marvel Comics and just keep it like Marvel Comics was, rather than trying to put our own race, sex, and whatever agendas into things, the DEI crap. They won't ever take that to heart. They're just going to keep lying about how things are going. Now, this movie is pretty universally liked. I have been watching and monitoring X on Deadpool versus Wolverine, and I am like, okay, it's people are crazed about this movie all the way around, and we'll get into the reactions of that in just a moment. If you guys are comic fans, I appreciate you being on the channel. I am, of course, a commentator on such things and a comic creator as well. So please hit the like and subscribe button. I come at this from a writing perspective a lot of the times. At some point, I might get around to seeing this movie and doing a full review of it, and I do a lot of reviews of these things from the writing perspective. And if you like my takes on things, I would love for you to check out my graphic novel, The Hidden Emperor. In this book, The Hidden Emperor, the Emperor of Humanity has been kidnapped, replaced by a clone. The clone is making bad decisions for the Terran Imperium and putting all of humanity at risk. Ailerin has to help with that situation, and does. So it's a beautiful book. It's about heroism. It's classic storytelling. If you love old Marvel Comics, you'll enjoy this. That link's in the description below. Thank you guys so much for supporting us so far. It's been incredible. You've been amazing. All right. So looking at the audience score right here, you can see that Deadpool and Wolverine just has a near perfect score. You can almost not get to a 98%. And looking at the feeds of people, you look at people like Gail Simone, who's actually the current writer of Uncanny X-Men, an extreme leftist herself. She's one of those like radical feminists in the industry. She loves the movie. If you look at people on the right, if you look at like stuff from like Film Threat, Yellow Flash, Nerdrotic, all those people say they love the movie as well. So basically, when you just do honor to the classic sort of setups, you put Wolverine in his classic yellow costume. You got Deadpool looking like Deadpool should. It doesn't look like bad cosplay. It's like actually good sets and all that. You've got good action in it. You've got great actors like Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. And you don't do these weird race swaps or put weird gay crap into it. Guess what? People like the movies and they resonate with it. That is something that's objectively happening at this point. So, absolutely great score. You can see that the critics are a little less enthusiastic about it. It's still good, but 79%. They're saying it's a popcorn flick. Is kind of their criticism of it, right? They're saying it's not up to their standards of cinema greatness and all that. But what really is? I mean, if you look at The Acolyte, at the beginning of The Acolyte, it was sitting at a 90% critic rating, saying it was fantastic, right? And you notice they don't have their certified fresh on this when even though the critics have it at 81% still at the end of the show. It dropped over the course of the season because the critics like couldn't defend it after several different episodes. It was a train wreck. It was a convoluted, nonsense, terrible filming, and everything about it was bad. Now, the audience reacted about it because they looked at this and they said, this isn't Star Wars. This is some twins, black girls, self-insert fantasy. And it was. Leslie Headland's come out in interviews and said, this was my self-insert. I had a sister I hated growing up, and I wanted to make a movie about her. And it's very weird when it gets into that, and it gets into the weird lesbian space witches and the grooming and things like that in the show. And it gets to a point where, like, her big climax of the show is having the black lady force choke an Asian man to death because of benign sexism, is what she said in the interview. Absolutely crazy. Now, when that's your show, and that's the premise of the show, that's exactly what's going on, that doesn't sound like Star Wars. It's not good guys going out there and defeating, like, evil fascists or whatever. That's just, like, insanity. And that's exactly what the problem with this show was. It didn't make any sense. None of the characters worked. All the characters were completely unlikable because they were all Leslie Headland self-inserts. And it was all about their weird DEI agenda rather than try to create a good action movie. This is quite the opposite. And you could see just like immediately the reactions are really well. Now, it's already passed $100 million, so it's doing well financially on this front as well. You see Discussing Film mention this. We've had a Thursday and Friday opening so far, so that bodes very, very well for the film. Maybe a $300 million weekend. This looks like a blockbuster success. It's almost like you give the audience what they ask for, and you get rewarded for it. Should be pretty simple. Now, Disney's not going to take this to heart right away because they've seen a few things, right? They've seen the recent MCU offerings fail. They've seen the recent Star Wars offerings fail. Their stock prices actually have plummeted as a result. They have dropped significantly. One of the major investors sold all of his stock because they wouldn't even let him on the board. And so they've had a massive sell-off, and Disney's in massive financial trouble right now. So they're looking at this right now, and they're going, oh gosh, we made huge mistakes. We pushed too far. And they're going to actually start, in my opinion, they're going to change the direction of these movies very soon to try to get back to an audience focus. We heard Bob Iger talk about that, trying to be more subtle about messaging earlier in the year, but I think they're going to back off of it entirely because they, again, now they have a prime example of something actually being a huge financial success, a huge audience success, without the weird diversity hire stuff, and all their diversity hire stuff is failing. Now, it's going to take 2-3 years for this to correct and turn around because these movies take that long to produce. From the setup to the get-go, that's what happens. They still have to come out with Agatha All Along and, oh gosh, Ironheart, Black Captain America, Not Captain America. All those films are already done. They're in the can, and they're going to get them out there and further torch their brand. But the things that start getting into production now are probably going to be in a different spot as this goes. So you're looking through this. Heel versus Babyface said Deadpool and Wolverine just embarrassed the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It had more heart, fun moments to invest in than anything Marvel have pissed out of its ass since Endgame. Wow, that's a pretty big deal right there. Chris Pratt posted about it. He says, freaking excited for Deadpool and Wolverine. Going to be huge. As a Hollywood guy, of course, seeing it Saturday. Have you got your ticket? Ryan's is my son's favorite actor, which hurts. And what a great treat to finally meet Hugh Jackman. I thought he'd be at the trailer. Let's go. Okay. Lots of different reactions to the show here. And Jezebel, I'm sure this is a good one. This is the opposite take. Is a dull, lifeless, empty as the dumping wasteland of eternal superhero void. This is engagement farming, I think. The referential humor gets exhausting. The visual palette is flat and muddy. The plot is both overstuffed and razor thin. The action has no weight. The film has no cinematic soul or imagination. The multitude of multiverse cameos are fun and a nod to those who have been forgotten from a bygone era of Fox's Marvel beginnings. The soundtrack was fun. Millennial fever dream. Hugh Jackman tries, but is a shadow of what once was. It's not the worst thing I've seen, but nowhere near Marvel's greatest. It's purely mid. So everybody else seems to like this except for her. So like I said, I think that's an engagement farming post as we scroll through these reactions to the film right here. And I guess there's a ton of different little cameos coming out through the entire situation as well. But the truth is in, and the audience loves it. The critics say it's okay, which means usually it's pretty good. Absolutely must see. Some of the best MCU in ages. Great chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Very entertaining. All right. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this, my friends. Hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to check out The Hidden Emperor, my Kickstarter, soon. We'll be back soon.